Welcome back to Palia, guys. Today I want to talk about something that is a hot topic right now, and it's relating to nerfs actually coming to Palia very soon. And this is going to bring us to the official Reddit page for Palia. Now, they made a post here, the developers themselves. They said, "We are Singularity 6, developers and publishers of Palia. Ask us anything." Well, the one we're talking about in today's video is specifically this one here. They said, "Hello, in today's update, you nerf the viability of making tomato seeds for the sake of making profit. Do you have any plans to change other high-profit hacks, such as the celebration cake parties?" So here's the developer's response. "In general, our guiding principle is allowing you to play the game you want to play. We want players to feel like they have a reasonable path to earning gold and unlocking parts of the game by engaging in activities they enjoy. When we see one activities start to be notably better than others, it creates a pressure on a lot of players to start doing that activity, or they will feel like they are being left behind. On the tomato seed front, we started to see those pop up as a high income generating item, and that led us to investigate why. And in the investigation, we realized that the timer was set incorrectly in the game. The rate that players started to sell tomato seeds over other seeds was a signal for us to investigate. That investigation exposed an error that simply made tomatoes the only crop that you should be planting if you're trying to make money." Now, in addition to them addressing the tomato seed issue, they now also talk about cake parties. They said, "Cake parties, on the other hand, are awesome and an activity that we very much want to preserve, but they are generating too much income right now. We intentionally designed cooking around being a multiplayer activity and wanted to encourage players to play in ways like this. However, though, given the high cost to organize a cake party, we think that it is okay that this to be one of the best, if not the best, value generating activities in the game. However, though, we are discussing options to bring the income earned down while preserving the overall benefit of this activity, and we will share when we have a path forward. Long term, the better solution is adding more dishes of this complexity to ensure that players aren't just making celebration cakes at these parties, but other dishes and multiplayer activities as well." So the first thing I want to state is, obviously I agree and I understand where the developer is coming from, as they don't want tomato seeds being the only seeds that players grow and, the only crop that players farm inside of the game. And then I also understand the logic behind the celebration cakes. They don't really want the celebration cakes to be the only recipe that players are making and utilizing at the end game to profit from gold, right? Because purely from a developer standpoint, like, they have all these other assets, all these other resources, all this other stuff that they have specifically coded into the game, or that they have into the game, and they want players to feel like they can grow or do whatever they want and still it be worth it compared to only sticking to these two items. So I 100% understand that logic and I get it. Now, on the flip side to this, though, I also don't know if fixing it or addressing it or changing it when it comes to the value is really going to make much of a difference. And I say that because these players that are, mid-max tier players really jump in here when any change is made, and they stress test everything to just then immediately release to the public the best, most efficient way to farm a specific resource inside of the game. In this case, the biggest resource right now is obviously gold. In order for you to farm the best gold in Palia, look it up. It's literally the leading keyword right now on YouTube and all the social media platforms when it comes to Palia. So anyways, what I'm trying to state is they're going to find the next meta, right? They're always going to find the next meta, no matter what is actually changing. So I don't know if reducing the value is going to break, this cycle of their player base only finding the one specific thing and then only crafting that one thing, or only doing parties for that one thing. So now, speaking of new thing that they come out with, the last line they mention here where they talk about adding additional recipes in here, that way players have more diversity on what they craft versus only making celebration cakes. Now, I 100% agree with this. I do think that having more in-game recipes would be smart, right? But you can't just add new recipes, right? Like, if they add new recipes, then they're also going to have to make sure that those recipes scale to the size of celebration cake. So for instance, that means they need to look at all the ingredients. They need to figure out, are the ingredients on par with what the celebration cake takes? Are the ingredients going to be easier to get, harder to get, or, right on par? They also need to figure out the time and how many steps each one of the recipes, would require to make sure, once again, they're comparable. And then last but not least, the big elephant in the room that they're trying to address is also value, right? Like they still have to make sure that the celebration cake's worth when you sell it in a shipping bin is not worth more, or when you put it in a glowworm farm, for instance, it's not worth more than these other recipes, because if it is, then they're going to continue making celebration cakes and there's no stopping it. But if they are on par with that, then it might actually shake up things. I don't know. That's my personal take on it. I don't know if I necessarily like the idea of, you know, them bringing nerfs into the value when it comes to celebration cakes, because I understand that they feel that that might be a quick and easy dirty fix, but I'm always a firm believer on, you know, not nerfing things as much as I am buffing things around the nerf to make it equal in value. When it comes to things like this, for instance, I definitely think an easy fix that I would suggest would be obviously to make other activities, you know, better or more worthwhile. Not necessarily focus on just cooking. I think cooking is in a very good spot where it is, but I think it honestly is the meta activity to do in game to earn gold, right? So I absolutely think, or would like to see, them actually take a different approach and actually look at like, well, why are players only cooking in these large parties? Why are they not fishing in large parties? Why are they not bug catching in large parties? Why are they not doing mining in these large parties, right? Because in my opinion, or foraging, for instance, you know, not necessarily mining, but it's like, in my opinion, I'm thinking that should be more of your focus, because if you can make those activities more appealing, right, or more valuable, or, you know, more of a reason for players to want to aim to do those types of parties, then they probably would sacrifice, you know, some of these celebration cake parties or cooking parties for the players who simply don't like to cook, right? I mean, I know a lot of players that love to hunt. Will give some benefit to hunting in large parties, you know, searching around, you know, Kilima Village or Bahari Bay, where if you're doing it for so long, you get a certain buff, or you start to net more resources, or, you know, you name it. Like if you can come up with better ways, you know, maybe like a fishing bucket. I saw this one on Reddit, or not Reddit. Was it Reddit or Discord? Maybe it would have been the partner Discord, but it was a really good suggestion, and I forget who it was, but they basically made a fishing one, and they said kind of like the bug catching lures, right, where you can, like, you know, pull bugs into an area for a short duration. You can do the same thing with like a chum bucket or something, right, where you could throw a chum bucket and then it basically just spawns more fishing holes, or maybe one big fishing hole that everybody can fish in the area, and then you get specific fish or better fish or whatever the case may be for a certain time duration. I definitely think it's a good option. I mean, I really do. I think like that would probably be a better approach in my opinion. But anyways, that's just one content creator's thought process here. I'm very curious to know what your guys' thoughts are. You guys let me know down below in the comments. Do you think this is something that absolutely needs to be addressed? The value needs to come down? Do you enjoy cooking at all? Honestly, that's another question. And also, do you want to see them change the overall activities that, you know, when it comes to the value that the other activities offer compared to actually nerfing something like cooking? But anyways, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe here on the channel for everything Palia related. And that's just my thoughts. And with that being said, as always, I'll see you guys on the next one.